Alright, welcome back. So this is the last video in this place, and we're going to talk about how you actually present the business plan. Now, in terms of presentation styles, you probably already watched my business pitching playlist. Presenting a business plan is a little bit different because it's a little bit more of a formalized activity. And let me just give you some pointers. First of all, remember this is a formal presentation. Okay? Make sure you dress the part. Okay? Now, when you're doing like a business pitch, I always tell people kind of dress like in a costume. So for example, if you're a farmer and you're selling agricultural products, show up in your farmer's outfit. That gives a degree of legitimacy to your performance. Okay? I think that's important in those contexts. However, I think when you're presenting a business plan presentation, remember who the audience is. It's going to be venture capitalists, it's going to be bankers. This is time to be serious. Rhetoric is important, enthusiasm is important, but you want to dress the part. And I always say this, take and buy at least one suit and spend whatever the maximum amount of money that you can afford on that suit and have one always ready for these kinds of presentations, these kinds of things, okay? Make sure you've got that ready to go for your business plan presentation. And by the way, make sure it's already pre-dry cleaned and stuff before you get there. Make sure you've steamed it long before you actually have to go and meet your potential investors. I can tell you one time I was trying to give a presentation. It was in New Zealand, and I had my kind of portable steamer to get the wrinkles out, and the electricity on the steamer was somehow different from the US version. So even though I had a converter, I remember I plugged the steamer and I pushed the button to put steam, and it shot all the water in the little steamer's bucket all over my suit, like in an instant. So obviously, it was fortunate I was planning on steaming it long before my actual presentation, so I had time for the suit to dry out and everything. But what a disaster that would have been if I was doing this and only had a couple hours to get ready. So make sure that you dress the part. Get the best suit that you can afford and wear it. Okay? You will have an allotted time. It may be 15 minutes, that's kind of the norm. It may be 20 minutes, it may be 45 minutes, whatever it is. Do not go over that time. Yes, you can go under, but I would also try not to go too far under. So if it's like 15 minutes and you're like 13 minutes, that's probably okay. If it's 15 minutes and you're 5 minutes, that's probably not okay, because that's time that you did not spend advocating for your business. Okay? Now again, as you're talking through the different slides or the different components of your business plan, feel free to say, I've got more details, and we can talk about that during questions and answers. Remember, if they ask you questions, that's on their time. Okay, so you don't have to explain everything in the most minute details. Just say that you're happy to talk about it after the presentation if they have questions. That way, hopefully you get them interested enough to ask those questions, and then you can explain your answers in a little bit more lax time. Okay? Make sure that your slides are professionally done. I know a lot of people whose native language is not English, and they've got typos and all sorts of garbage all over their slides. It just looks unprofessional, and you're not going to get funding. If somebody cannot write a sentence in English without making mistakes, they probably don't need or deserve funding. Okay? And if you know that you have problems, then get a copy editor, have a friend look at it, something. That's important. On your slides, again, make sure they look professional. Make sure that you don't have all these busy slides. Okay? If the slides are too busy, nobody's going to be able to see what you have on there anyhow. Don't do that. Just include some diagrams, some simple diagrams, and talk through them. Okay? What you want to make sure is that the presentation, the PowerPoint slides, are an extension of you. You want them to be paying attention to you, and the slides are your support. Don't make the presentation about the slides and you're the support. Okay? Don't do that. Make sure they're focused on you. So simple pictures are always a good thing. Okay? That's why I've talked about diagrams so much in this particular video, but actually throughout all of my videos. Other things that you want to remember. They're going to ask you some tough questions. Okay? Remember, it's their job to be thorough. What I would tell you to do is rehearse many, many times so that the presentation is smooth and fluid, sure. Again, the worst presentations are the ones where they stutter, they stumble, they get nervous, they forget what they're saying. It looks bad, okay? Make sure your presentation is crisp, rehearse it, and rehearse it in front of a friend or lots of friends. or even in front of faculty members or whatever, okay? Because you want them to be able to ask you questions in anticipation for the tough questions that potential investors will ask you. Because trust me, they will grill you, okay? Now the good thing is, if they're grilling you, don't panic. It means they're interested, okay? If they think the presentation is a total waste of time, if they think your idea is a total waste of time, they're just going to say bye-bye. Yeah, we've heard enough, bye-bye. Okay, thank you for your time, we'll see, good luck. You know, that's all they're going to say. And you don't walk out of it thinking, wow, I aced this. No, that means you probably didn't do a good job. Now, if they're grilling you, it's that they're interested, but they think maybe this is too good to be true, I want to know more. They're going to ask those tough questions because they're interested in what you're doing. Okay? Now, my advice for you on this is don't panic when you get asked a tough question. Okay? So even if you don't know the answer, don't panic. So what I usually do is I bring a notepad or a little book and hear the question, take a deep breath. If I need to, I'll start, and sometimes there's like multiple part questions, like there's a question with 5 parts, and I'll start writing down the question as I'm getting grilled, okay? And then what I'll do is I will repeat the question to them. I said, okay, if I understood you correctly, you asked this. Is that your question? Okay? And while you're doing that, that gives you some time to think about how to respond. Okay? And it shows that you're paying attention to their question too, and it makes sure you don't answer the wrong question. And when they say yes, then you start attacking it one by one. But that gives you a little time. Breathe, right? If possible, I even say sit down and start writing the question down. You need to relax, okay? Don't get panicked. Don't get flustered. It's their job to kind of throw you off balance a little because they're testing you, right? If you can't handle some easy questions, you're not going to be able to handle the ambiguity of being an entrepreneur in a dynamic business environment, okay? Well, awesome. So I hope you've enjoyed this playlist. As always, give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure you comment down below and make sure you subscribe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in some future videos.